Hey everyone, and welcome to Wartales 1.0. So if you don't know, Wartales is a sandbox-style open-world RPG with turn-based tactical combat. The closest game to compare it to would be Battle Brothers, and it's developed by Shiro Games. You might know them from games such as Dune Spice Wars or Northgard. And before we go any further, this is a sponsored video, sponsored by Shiro Games. So big shout out to them. Anyway, Wartales has actually been in early access since December 2021, but now, as of 12th of April, it is now in 1.0, so out of early access. And we're going to play it a bit. I will talk about some of the gameplay basics, and maybe explain a few things so that you'll be a bit less confused about the game systems when you start. I know I was a little bit confused when I first started playing. So, when you launch a new game, you have a few choices to make. And here's the first one. You have to choose who your companions are. And the most important part here are your actual starting companions and their classes. As you can see, they will be different based on what you picked. I wouldn't worry too much about the actual starting bonuses. Yeah, they can matter a little bit, but they don't really matter that much. So the more important part here are your starting companions. So in case of this last option, for example, you'll start with one archer, two rangers, which are melee classes with daggers, and a brute. And for example, if you pick the second option, you will start with all melee group, a swordsman, warrior, spearman, and brute. So these things do matter. If you want to have a ranged character, at least one, then don't pick men escorting merchants, because you will not get one then. Let's say we are apprentice friends looking for an adventure. There you go. That way we'll get a swordsman, archer, ranger, and brute. Then we have to pick what our bonus is going to be. Now, this part is a little bit more important. In the long term, it probably doesn't matter as much, but you can get 10% extra experience, for example, and 10% extra influence. That definitely adds up over time. You can reduce the speed at which your fatigue stacks, and fatigue is a very important mechanic in this game. So let's actually grab the fatigue bonus here. From my experience, fatigue is pretty damn important. You will find yourself fatigued a lot, and camping a lot to reduce it. And then you have to pick a flow. So this can actually be a little bit different for different starting backgrounds. There was one where you have to pay people more, for example, but not with the option I picked. So depending on what kind of group you picked, you might have slightly different options here. So in this case, we can get, for example, reduced troop happiness during each rest, or decreased carrying capacity. So one carrying capacity is not that much. It is one per person, but it's still not that much. We can get increased danger while resting. We can get the decreased critical hit. I don't think I would personally pick anything that directly affects combat. So let's actually get a slightly decreased carrying capacity here, and that's fine. And here's a very interesting choice that you have to make at the start, which is whether you'll play with adaptive exploration or region locked. This is actually basically an indirect way to choose your difficulty. If you play with adaptive exploration, then the entire world will scale with you, which means that if you fall behind in power for whatever reason, maybe you messed up your build, maybe you picked the wrong abilities, maybe you got the wrong gear, maybe you didn't get the gear you needed. So if for whatever reason your party's power falls behind as you level up, you might run into some encounters you'll have serious problems with. But if you play region-locked exploration, you will always have the option of going back to a lower level area, which you know you can handle. So in a sense, this can be a safer way to play the game, and I would actually recommend playing with region-locked exploration initially. because you might run into some issues as you level up if you use adaptive exploration. Or rather, you should be prepared for potentially a tougher experience as you go on if you pick adaptive exploration. But I do really like the fact that this choice exists, because some people will prefer the entire world scaling with you, and some people will prefer level-locked regions. These are both entirely legitimate ways to play, just different ways to play. And then you get to pick the difficulty, both combat difficulty and survival difficulty. You can actually change this anytime you want in-game, so I wouldn't stress too much over which exact difficulty to pick. I would maybe pay attention to survival difficulty though, because this doesn't actually affect any combat, it just affects food management, for example, because you'll have to manage your hunger, fatigue, and wages. So if you pick novice, it will be easier doing just that. So if you only really care about combat, and you don't want to bother too much managing your food, for example, or wages and things like that, I would just pick novice, survival difficulty, and if you find that part too easy, you can always increase the difficulty in-game. Or other way around. Keep in mind that if you find the survival part of the game too hard, you can always lower it to novice in-game anytime you want. So let's just go with experienced combat and novice survival. And then you have save mode. You can play on free, which is save anytime you want. You can play on limited, which is one save per game, but you can go back at any time to certain checkpoints, like the last village visited. Or you can play Iron Man, which is basically one save, one chance only. Alright, and then you can customize your characters a little bit. So you can customize their appearance. I want to be playing around with that too much right now. But you can also change a few things that will affect combat. So you can change your utility skill, which is right here. There aren't actually that many choices, so you can get first aid, which can heal a dying ally for 10% of their max health. So the way that works in this game is that when you are reduced to 0 HP, you get the dying status, which means that any damage you take will kill you. And this is when you can use first aid. If one of your party members is dying, any single hit will kill them, but then you can also use first aid on them. So again, that's how that works. We also have Run, which disengages from an enemy you might have engaged and moves in a straight line, because normally if you disengage, you will take an attack of opportunity. So that's something to keep in mind. And then we have Wrath, which can deal some damage to the target if they have less than 50% health left. And then you gain Fury, which increases the damage of your next attack by 50%. It's pretty strong. Okay, so let's say this guy can get the Wrath. Then you can pick positive as well as negative traits. So by default you will have random. You can change this to none, but you can also pick a very specific trait, any trait you want. So you can get increased crit, you can get increased constitution, strength, dexterity, more proficient experience, more normal experience, +1 movement, wages reduced by 10%, 3% base guard, and increased carrying capacity. But let's say we'll give this guy movement. Then if you pick your second trait, instead of leaving it at none, you will then have to pick a negative trait. So let's say we give this guy 5% more experience, right? So then we have to pick a negative trait. So he will eat +1 food each day. He will cost +3 in wages. His constitution will be reduced. His critical hit will be reduced. His carrying capacity will be reduced. His willpower will be reduced. Or he must consume alcohol with every meal to be happy. So you have to pick one of these or leave it at random if you pick 2 positive traits. Let's say he will eat more food each day. Yeah, so that's that guy. Then we have our archer. It's basically the same exact story. You can change the utility skill. So for example, in this case, because she's using a bow, we can get aim, which will give her deftness. which means the range of the next attack is doubled and the precision is enhanced. So let's say we'll grab that then, and we can take, for example, 20% more profession experience. Then we have our swordsman. So in case of some classes, you can actually change the starting weapon, which gives you a choice between one-handed and a shield or two-handed, which will also change your main skill. So in this case, he will get cleave with a two-handed sword, or we can give him a one-handed sword and a shield, which will give him slice. So let's keep the two-handed sword, and we can change the utility to wrath. He probably doesn't want to taunt with a two-hander. And we could give him more movement. So then we have our last guy. So same story here, I can change to a two-handed weapon, or I can keep one-handed. So this guy could get taunt, or he could get first aid too. If he's going to use a shield and we use him as a tank, then taunt would obviously be helpful, but he's also the least likely one to die potentially. He will be the least squishy group member. Well, either way, you have to pick between taunt, wrath and first aid. So let's say we'll grab taunt here. Taunt also inflicts weakening, which reduces the damage by 50%. That's pretty strong. And for his trait, we could maybe give him increased constitution, because, you know, he's supposed to be a tank. So once you're done customizing this, you can also rename the pony, by the way. So let's say he'll be Roach. And later on, you can actually use your pony in combat. There are some choices you can make that allows you to use the pony in combat. You can even pick a trait here, as you can see. So +1 movement, increase carrying capacity. There you go, increase carrying capacity. Alright, let's get started then. Okay, so when you start, you will start in the same exact location every single time, which is this spot right here, and you'll have one group to beat. This is kind of a combat tutorial, basically. Let's actually do it first, and then we'll talk about a few things that we can see right here. Here, we got some Bounties to kill. So Wartales has a pretty interesting combat system, which is a little bit different than in any other turn-based tactical game I played. So first of all, when you start the fight, you can change your starting positions. So any of these highlighted positions you can use to place any of your characters before the fight actually starts. So I can move them around any way I want. You can press Alt to highlight all of the units on the field, yours and the enemies. So let's say we'll go with this. Once you're ready to get started, you can pick any of your characters to go first. Here you can see the actual turn order, and the way turn order works in this game, you can use any of your characters who still has actions left, as in any character you haven't used this turn, and then the enemy will go. So I can use 2 of my characters, and then this specific guy will get a turn. He cannot choose one of his 2 units. He will be using this guy specifically. So you get to choose who you want to use first, but the AI does not. So in a sense, that does give you an advantage over the AI, at least in that sense. So let's say we'll use our shield guy first. We can move up, and then bonk. So then I can use another character. Well, first I have to end his turn. So let's end Hoggard's turn with spacebar. And then I can hit this guy from the back. So let's say we'll hit him with our two-handed sword. Like this. There you go. And then he will get a turn when I finish mine. So now he will hit me. And then I can move in again with my dagger guy. And this way we will actually have him surrounded, which means he will take 20% more damage. That is quite significant. You get this status when you're surrounded by 2 or more enemies. As in, it says 2 free enemies because we are engaged with one, and then these guys count as free enemies. So if you're surrounded by 3 or more, then you are actually surrounded. Yeah, and now we can use Wrath, because he's at less than 50% health, And the way these abilities work is they use valor points. So you need to actually have valor points in order to use some of these skills. So it's a pretty important decision whether you use them or not. You will regain them when you rest, and you also get some abilities that will allow you to regain them in combat as you level up. So, for example, you might be able to gain valor when you get a killing blow. As an important note, this game actually does have friendly fire. So if I move my archer right here and then take a shot at this guy, I will have a 21% chance to hit Hoggard. You can see it right here. It's a little bit hard to read, but it's there. I have 79% chance to hit the hoodlum and 21% chance to hit my own guy. There we go, we got him. That looked a little bit awkward. And when I kill an enemy, I will get this galvanization status, which will increase my damage by 50%, which is quite a significant increase, as you can clearly see. 50% is huge. Alright, and then we have a new round, which means, again, I can use anyone I want. In this case, because there's only one enemy left, I can move everyone before he gets an action. So there's a good chance we can just kill this archer before he gets a chance to do anything. So now we can use our archer first to not risk friendly fire too much. Yeah, that's 100%, which means there's no risk of friendly fire. I can use aim, but again, this uses valor, and we basically won this fight already. So there's no need to do that. We'll just finish him off the regular way. And we have one more guy. This should do the trick. And he's dead. So that's the basics of combat. It's a pretty interesting system. It's kind of a hybrid system, because in a lot of games, either you can move any unit you want in any order you want, so you move everyone and then the AI moves everyone, or you have a specific order. But here it's kind of a hybrid approach. So it's not really like any other game I played. It's an interesting system. Right, so now our gear is damaged, which means we can use raw materials to repair it. You can get raw materials pretty easily by camping. Otherwise our armor will be damaged and it won't really do anything for us. We did get a level up on Hoggard. Now, when you move around the world, you will get like a bunch of materials. And they will be pretty important for crafting, as you might have guessed. And the crafting is very important in this game, because it's one of the main ways you get better gear. So it's very, very, very important. Anyway, when we level up, we get to increase one of our attributes, but we also get to make a choice here on the right side. Not at every single level, as you can see, up to level 12. But right now, on this guy, we get to choose his specialization. So he can be a vanguard, a smasher, or a destroyer, which affects what armor he'll be able to use, and also gives him a different skill. So again, these skills use valor, so that's something to keep in mind. If he's a vanguard, he'll get relentless charge, so that will disengage and charge in a straight line, and deal damage to all units in his path, and apply slowdown, which reduces movement by half. That's a pretty powerful ability. As a smasher, he'll get poisoned impact, which will apply 2 poisons to bleeding units. And as a destroyer, he will deal some damage to the target and apply weakening for 3 rounds. And he will also get to use heavy armor as a destroyer. So let's go with the destroyer here. There you go. And then we can also spend the attribute points. So here, we can use it for strength, we can use it for constitution and we'll get a better return, or we can use it for movement. But these are the only choices we have. We have to pick one of these 3. So strength will increase his damage, as you can see. Not by much, but it will. Constitution will increase his health and carrying capacity. He's supposed to be a tank, so let's go with constitution. Done. So, there are a few important things on the UI here. One of the most important things you might want to pay attention to is knowledge up here. Knowledge is how you unlock a lot of things. So there are a few different categories here. At the start, you'll only see knowledge and workshop. Workshop is basically things you can craft while you camp. So, for example, we have lockpicks. We can make lockpicks while we camp. We can make fishhook. You get the idea. These are the things you can make while you camp. Knowledge unlocks all kinds of different bonuses and abilities. So, for example, one of the most important ones, I would say, is the ability to run. Because this means you can cover more ground before you get fatigued. It doesn't seem to affect the rate at which you get fatigued. If you run, you can basically just move more before you have to camp. So I would strongly recommend unlocking run early on. And you get knowledge by exploring the world and also by crafting some items. There's more than one way to get knowledge, but the two main ways are discovering new areas and also crafting some items. So that's knowledge. We'll be getting at least 1 point pretty quickly here, so then we can unlock the ability to run. There are a few other things. So this is scenario progress. You'll get to start accumulating some scenario progress pretty quickly. And then there's also suspicion, which is basically wanted level. You'll be wanted by the guards if you're a naughty boy. Not something to worry about right away, but it's worth knowing that this is a mechanic. So if you commit any crimes, you might want to avoid guards. Then we also have happiness, which affects our group. You mostly gain and lose happiness when you camp. If it drops too much, you might lose someone from your group. And if you gain enough, your valor points will be increased. And maybe even your experience will be increased. Then we have influence, which you gain as you do missions and things like that. You can use influence to recruit new companions, but you can also use influence to perform certain actions. Like, for example, you can use influence at a certain NPC in towns to get information about potential tasks around the world. So that's one of the pretty important early uses of influence. Valor points is again a combat mechanic. We already covered that. It's needed to use a lot of powerful skills. Food is fairly self-explanatory. You need to eat once in a while. You need to eat every time you camp. So when you become too fatigued, you'll have to camp and then you'll have to eat while you camp. And then you have wages. You have to pay wages every few camps. So you don't have to pay wages every single time you camp, but you do have to pay them, in this case, every 4 rests. If you don't pay them, then your people will not be happy, as you might have guessed. Then you have your inventory right here. So that's fairly self-explanatory. We can carry up to 85 right now. That's your carrying capacity. But we do have a pony, so he adds a lot to our carrying capacity. He adds 65. So if we lose the pony, yeah, we would drop to like 35 or 30. Then we have the money. This is camping. So we will not be camping right now. I'm just showing you that this is right here. You can also just press C. We have the world map. We can't actually see a whole lot on the map right now. We have paths. So this shows you basically everything you can achieve. Right at the start, you'll see a lot of question marks, as you might have guessed. But we already have 1 in Explorer, for example. We have 3 out of 50 in Reaper to collect resources. But yeah, at the start, you'll see a lot of question marks. And then Compendium is the same thing you get when you click Knowledge up here. So these are the things you unlock with Knowledge. So I think that covers all the UI basics over here. So here are some stables. We can spend money to buy another pony.
When I think of how many people
We can buy a horseshoe from this guy, which will increase our movement speed in the world.
tell you what,
But he will actually tell us that he'll give us one for free if we buy a pony from him. Which is not exactly free if you have to spend money for it, you know? You can steal a lot of things in this game. Obviously, if you steal something and then they catch you, your wanted level will go up. I haven't done it too much, personally, but you can try to steal a lot of things. Also from NPCs. You can try to steal stuff from merchants. Sometimes it can be pretty valuable things. Alright, we have how much gold? 311. Let's adopt another pony. And that way we'll get a horseshoe from this guy.
For the eye's sake.
There you go. And then you actually have to equip it right here in this slot. Our other pony is using saddlebags, which you can also craft yourself. So we could make more saddlebags and use them instead of the horseshoe. And get more carrying capacity. Anyway, there's not much to do at the actual stable right now. So let's go further down the road. And to our first town. And we should get a knowledge point pretty soon here. Yeah, there we go. Progress made in discoveries has earned you a knowledge point. So now we can use that knowledge point to unlock the ability to run. I would highly recommend unlocking the ability to run pretty early on. You can also use it to escape from certain encounters. If some bandits try to ambush you, for example, you can run away from them sometimes. So I would highly recommend unlocking this early on. So here's the first town you will run into, and there are a few things we can do here, but most importantly, we can go into the inn and check out some missions you can pick up. So if you talk with the emissary, she will have a bunch of bounties that you can pick up, ranging from easy to hard. You will get some basic information about what this is about, and you will get some information in which direction this might be in. So this is to the east. You can't see it on the map until you actually accept it. So when we accept it, we'll get a map showing us where exactly it is. And you can accept up to 3 contracts. So let's grab the 2 easy ones. This one is southwest, which is fine. So there we go. Actually, no, this is east. The hard one is southwest. So these are both roughly in the same direction, which is perfect. Then another way to get stuff to do is to talk with the informant, and you will be able to pay influence to pick up some information from the informant. You get some very basic information here, so you don't even know which direction this might be in. You just get some very, very basic description. You will see a map where it is after you pay influence. So because we have 58 influence, let's just pick one up. Why not? So for example, we can maybe grab this one. Now, you might be able to find these things on your own. You don't actually have to pay influence to unlock this. You can just roam around the world and find these things yourself. So this just tells you exactly where they are. At least from my experience. But you can find these yourself. So right here, we know we can do stuff over here. The captain of the guard is looking for mercenaries to help him bring a criminal to justice. So other than that, you can also hire new people here. So for example, this guy, I can't do it right now because I just spent my influence. But we could hire a ranger. Right here. And there should be one more person.
Don't be fooled by these.
Yeah, right here. We can also hire an archer. So once I get more influence and a bit more gold, I will probably do exactly that. We can also buy some alcohol here. We can buy some food. We can buy recipes. Crafting is a pretty big part of this game. And there are several different ways to gain recipes. Some of them you have to buy, and others you have to unlock. So yeah, in this case, we could buy a recipe for apple pancake, which would cost me 80 gold. I only have 131, and I do have to pay wages, so I'm not gonna do that right now. We can also rest and recover our valor points. This would cost me 60 gold, which is quite a bit. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's good to be aware that this is a thing you can do. Here's another person we could hire potentially. So a swordsman. Again, I can't afford it right now, so I will not be doing it right now. But that's the inn. Then we also have the clinic, where you can craft things. Now, when you initially start playing, you will not have any professions. You can assign professions. So here I could assign someone to be my alchemist. I don't have to do it, and obviously if you dismiss that person or they die, then you lose your alchemist.
Be sure to hold on to the
We can buy some stuff from this person. So again, we can buy recipes. We can buy medicine. Medicine is pretty important. because you use it to cure injuries. We do have 5 medicine right now, but we can also buy sharpening oil, for example, which would give us plus 10% crit, but it's not cheap, as you can see. Or rather, we're poor right now. It's probably not that expensive, we're just really poor. So I don't think I'll be spending money here right now. But we can assign somebody as an alchemist. So for example, the archer can be an alchemist. There you go. And then you have a list of things you can craft. In this case, I can't really craft them because I don't have the components. But one important thing to know here is that crafting something for the first time will often give you knowledge points. So right here we can see this icon. This indicates that crafting this item for the first time will give us a knowledge point. Other times, you will have a different icon, which will indicate you will unlock new recipes when you craft it. So I can show you that with the blacksmith. So let's assign, let's say, Hogard as a blacksmith. So here, you have a different icon, and when you craft this item, you will reveal a new recipe in the compendium. So that's one way to basically unlock new things that you can use knowledge to unlock in the compendium. Because as you saw earlier, there are a lot of question marks in here. You have to actually reveal these things. So this is how you reveal them. That's pretty much it. And now, because we picked an alchemist, we have a brand new category here for the apothecary table. So that's pretty much the basics of how you unlock things to craft. And like I said, crafting is a huge part of this game. It's a very, very important part of this game. It's how you get a lot of the better gear. Another way to get better gear is to buy it from merchants. Mostly from merchants you meet on the road, so not necessarily in town. You can also attack the merchants or steal stuff from them. Here's a merchant. Let's have a chat with this guy. So their inventory is usually pretty limited. This guy, for example, only has this battle plate for sale and Deserter's Lance. So I could try to steal that, but I don't think I want to do it right now. I can also attack them, which will give us plus 50 to 60 wanted level, as you can see here. So we probably don't want to do that either. One thing that's important to pay attention to is what weapons you can actually use, because you can't use just any weapon you want on any group member you want. They can only use certain types of weapons. So this guy can only use swords. Or rather, this guy can only use daggers. This looks like a sword, but it's actually a dagger, because he's a ranger. And for example, this guy can only use a bow. You get the idea. I can't just give my swordsman a hammer, for example, because he won't be able to use that. He needs a sword. It can be a one-handed or a two-handed sword, but he needs a sword. And this guy needs a hammer. So I actually do not have anyone in my group right now who would be able to use a polearm. Which means that even if I bought this polearm, which I won't, but I could in theory, I would not be able to use it. I don't think I can use heavy armor either. You need to level up first, before you get the ability to use heavy armor. So right here. Medium, heavy, heavy. Well, actually, I could use heavy armor, because Hogard is a destroyer now. So I could buy this for him. It's not cheap, but it is a significant improvement. So let's say we'll actually buy this, which will leave me with 41 gold. That's not a whole lot, but this is a good way early on to get some better gear. It's a much faster way, because I would not be able to craft this myself. Well, not right at the start of the game. There's zero chance I would be able to craft this at this exact stage of the game. And this makes our main tank, like, significantly more tanky. It's a pretty big upgrade for him. I can probably give his rags to somebody else. This will be a slight improvement. So there you go. Okay, so let's do some actual bounty, shall we? Before we leave, we could actually buy some food. So here's a market. There are a few merchants in here, and you can buy some stuff from them. So you can buy leather, which can be used for crafting. You can buy trade goods, you can buy components, you can buy food. That's basically the main three things you can buy here. So let's buy a little bit of food. I shouldn't need too much. right now, and we don't want to go broke. So now the idea is to do a bounty before we have to pay our people. I don't have to pay them for 4 more rests, but I will have to pay them once we get to that point. So let's go east and try to do something really quick. We can go check out this spot right here, the captain of the guard, and see what's up with that. We will want to pick up anything we can pick up on the way, because this will be really important for crafting. In this case, we got some iron ore, which we will need for our blacksmith. There's wood over here, but I don't necessarily want to go that far. You don't have to camp fairly frequently in this game, so if you go like off path too much, just be prepared to camp a lot, potentially. Here, that's more iron. I assume this is the guy. And here we got yet another knowledge point, so I could spend it right away. For example, we got career paths, which allows you to spend influence to add 1 to aptitude when leveling up. So that's a pretty good one. We will actually pick that up. Let's check out this guard outpost.
To think that we have to camp out here because of some pig-headed bandit. That Bertram will stop at nothing to terrorize the Orcals. But when it comes to facing the guard, that's a whole other matter. It's been 3 days and still he won't surrender. Bertram knows he's done for, yet he continues.
Okay, so he wants us to kill some bandits. We can accept, we can leave. So if we accept, we'll get 100 crowns as a reward. We'll get 25 influence, and we'll get plus 20 to story progress right here. Each region has its own scenario. That's what the plus 20 means. You get plus 20 for this region scenario progress. Okay, we'll accept. And then we go into this cave over here. And here's a bit of a plot twist. So this is something you will see a lot in this game. When I talk to Bertram right here, he will have a counter offer. And this will actually happen quite a lot. So he will ask us to kill the captain instead. We can accept his offer and kill the captain instead. We will get the same exact reward, but sometimes the reward is a bit different. Or we can kill him as captain asked. Or we can leave. So let's kill him like the captain asked. Here, this is a level 1 group. We can handle them. Okay, so here we have some environmental threats right here. This is like a boulder. It's a rock slide. It will kill any unit it hits. So you don't want to have anyone standing in this red circle. That would be bad times. Okay, this is a pretty interesting area. Right, so here's the guy we're supposed to kill and his friends. Let's just move our guys like so. And we have one down here. I don't necessarily want one person on this side. Let's do something like this. Maybe archers slightly in the back. And we could actually attack with the archer first. And then we can move in with our tank. So let's do that. We'll take a shot at the poacher. Then we can move in with Hoggart. Well, then they will get an action, which is fine. We'll get knocked back slightly. Then we can move in with Hoggart. Hit the poacher. I can use weakening blow, but I don't really want to use my valor point for that. There's no real need. We'll just hit him once and then end the turn. He'll move in with Bertram. So now I can actually attack him from the back. Like so. There we go. That works. Then we can shoot... Oh, and then we have our two-handed guy. So the two-handed guy has cleave. And there is friendly fire in this game. So you need to be careful to not hit your own group members. If we do it like this, we can only hit the enemy and not hit our own group members. But if I attack like this, I would also hit my own dude. And you don't want to do that. There is a bit of a relationship system in this game, so if you hit your own party members, their relationship can deteriorate. So not only you're doing damage to your own guy, you can hurt the relationship by hitting him. So it's bad in more way than one. Here's the rock slide. Okay, so now it's a new round, which means, again, I can use my guys in any order I want, and then he'll go with the poacher. So perhaps I can kill the poacher. Probably not, though. Yeah, and here's another rock slide, so we probably want to move out of the way. And by probably, I mean we definitely want to move out of the way. However, I'm engaged, which means that if I move, I will take an attack from Bertram, which is not a good thing. So I have to either kill him, or I have to use some kind of ability to knock him back, to force him to disengage. Let's try to kill him. But if I'm not able to kill him, I will have to just straight up move out with Athenos if I don't want to lose him. So, something to keep in mind. I will probably have to move out, because I don't think I can do 16 damage. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but that's what you have to do sometimes. Let's see if we can do it. So, if I want to hit him with Hoggard, I would also have to disengage, which I'm not necessarily willing to do. But now we can spend a Valor point to use Weakening Blow. If I use Weakening Blow and then a normal attack, I can probably kill the poacher. So let's do that. There we go, we killed the poacher. Now I can move. Like so. Now he's surrounded, so we'll do extra damage. I can actually taunt him. So let's taunt him like so. This is actually the best way to do it, because I'll taunt him so he will engage Hoggard instead. And that way, I can move out of this danger zone without taking attack of opportunity. So this was the best way to do it, because you can only engage one person at a time like this, meaning that when we use taunt to engage Bertram, he disengaged Athenos. So taunt is definitely worth having for situations like this, as you can clearly see. Okay, he just poisoned his own guy. Works for me. So like I said, there is friendly fire in this game. In this case, I will definitely hit the enemy, but you need to watch out, especially with an archer. Okay, that works. There's the rock slide. Okay, so let's kill him here. We can cleave without hitting our own guy. He'll get one attack. Yeah, Otton is down to 7 health, which is not great, but we are almost done here. He's at 1 health now. Okay, let's finish him off with the archer here. That will do the trick. Done. And we unlocked a new trait. Now we also get the 50% damage bonus. There's the trait. Chance to generate 1 Valor point at the end of their turn. So that's obviously pretty powerful, because I'm sure you noticed how important Valor points are. They are very, very important. A lot of skills will use Valor. And we won. We can grab the loot. Yeah, so here we got a dagger. That's another good way to get better gear. You can just get it from people you kill, obviously. So if I use this dagger, I will get a different skill, the Devious Whirlwind skill, which applies 2 poisons to any unit that walks through the cloud or ends their turn within it. Alright, let's heal and repair. So that uses medicine and raw materials. And we got a level up on Otlin. First, let's talk with the captain really quick, so he will pay us.
I must commend you for your courage and your devotion to our cause.
So we get 100 gold, 25 influence, and plus 20 to the fate of children. Right here. So now we can actually see something on this tooltip. Anyway, we are done in here. Let's check out Otlin, because he leveled up. So now, because I have career plans, I can spend influence to add 1 point here. I will definitely do that. So let's increase Constitution, because I like when people don't die. Now, you will get some other bonuses at certain amount of points. So, for example, with Willpower, at 15 points in Willpower, the unit will survive the first time they should die in combat. Which is pretty nice. And willpower is used to boost the troops' morale in combat, and it increases critical hit. Then we can get critical hit itself. I'll take Constitution. And then you can see that I can pay 10 influence to increase it further. So we can upgrade the Constitution and it will cost us 10. Which we will definitely do. That was kind of the whole point of picking up a career plan. Influence is pretty easy to get. 10 influence is not much. So there you go. Now he has 13. And we can pick his specialization. So Protector, Fighter, Swordmaster. Swordmaster will give him medium armor, the other two will give him heavy armor. Protector will give him encouragement. The unit and all allies in the area gain protection for 2 rounds. Protection reduces the damage you take by 30%, that's pretty big. Fighter will give us Destabilizing Strike, which deals 5 to 6 damage to the target and applies Destabilization, which reduces guard to 0. And the Swordmaster will give us Laceration, which uses 2 Valor points, deals 6 damage to all the units in the area 2 times, and is usable after 2 attacks. I really like this protection ability, actually. Reduces the damage taken by 30% for 2 rounds. That's pretty powerful. So let's actually get Protector on this guy. And we did also get this dagger. That's probably better than mine. That is definitely better than mine. So this will remove the stab skill and give us a Devious Whirlwind instead, which deals damage to all units in the area. You don't have to be careful with friendly fire with this. So, you know, just something to keep in mind. Okay, I think we're done here. Now we can leave. Now we have 134, so I have enough to pay the wages. But yeah, that's the absolute basics of the game. That's how you can get started. But I think that's going to be the end of this video. So thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful and useful. This is a pretty interesting game. I find the combat mechanics pretty intriguing. But either way, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. And I'll see you next time.